The moment you put out your last cigarette, your body starts undoing the damage faster than you would believe, and it does it on a schedule you can almost set a clock to. About 20 minutes in, your heart rate and your blood pressure start dropping back toward normal. Around 12 hours in, the carbon monoxide that has been crowding oxygen out of your blood clears, and your oxygen levels climb. Inside the first full day, the nicotine itself is gone from your blood, which is usually right when the withdrawal bites hardest. Give it 2 weeks to 3 months, and your circulation improves and your lungs start working better. Somewhere between 1 and 9 months, the coughing and the shortness of breath ease off as the tiny hairs lining your airways wake back up. At 1 year, your risk of heart disease is roughly half what it was. At 5 years, your stroke risk keeps falling. At 10 years, your odds of dying from lung cancer drop to about half a smoker's. At 15 years, your heart disease risk sits close to that of somebody who never smoked at all. That is not a sales pitch. That is your own biology, and it starts the minute you stop. So here's the strange part. If the payoff is that good and that automatic, why is quitting so hard? Why do so many people know this timeline by heart and still light one up tomorrow morning? Because that timeline only tells you what you win. It does not tell you how to stop. It is a reward chart, not a plan. And white-knuckling your way from one milestone to the next, counting the hours and the days, is exactly the approach that tends to collapse in week 3, right when the cravings are still showing up and the novelty is long gone. The first 2 or 3 days are the worst of it physically, and plenty of people never get past them. The ones who do often relapse weeks later, well after their body has stopped complaining, which should already tell you the real problem is not living in your lungs. Look at how most people actually try. Cold turkey is the classic. You throw out the pack, grit your teeth, and hope willpower carries you. For the small number it works for, wonderful, but most people are smoking again within a week, because willpower is a battery and a craving just waits for it to run flat. Then there are the nicotine patches and the nicotine gum, which quiet the chemical side by feeding you a slow drip of the same drug. Those can carry your body through the physical part, but they do nothing about the reason your hand reaches for a cigarette the second your coffee is poured. When the patch finally comes off, the habit is still sitting right there. Some people book a couple of sessions of hypnotherapy to quit smoking. Others reach for the Alan Carr method, the book and seminar approach that has been around for decades. The Alan Carr stop smoking system has genuinely worked for some people, and honestly so has every other option on this list for somebody, somewhere. But notice the pattern underneath all of it. Most stop smoking programs treat quitting as a fight, something you grind your way through. Even the more structured smoking cessation programs a clinic or a quit line signs you up for tend to lean on those same tools, coaching you through the chemical dip in the calendar. General stop smoking aids go after the chemical craving and stop there. The usual quit smoking aids a pharmacy hands. You are matched to the part of your body that was always going to heal on its own anyway. Almost nobody is working on the actual wiring, the automatic link your brain spent years building between a cigarette and your morning coffee, a cigarette and a stressful email, a cigarette and the phone in your other hand. That link is the reason the reward chart never quite seems to be enough on its own. That gap is what I kept hitting when I started digging through smoking cessation apps. Open any store and you find a wall of them. Most are trackers. They show you that same recovery timeline, count your smoke-free days, add up the money saved, and hand you a little badge. Which is pleasant, but it is really just narrating the healing your body was already doing without any help. A tracker celebrates the milestone and never lays a finger on the want that makes you relapse straight past it. The honest test of a quit smoking app is simple. Does it change what you actually want, or does it just count what you have already done? So if you are hunting for the best app to quit smoking, the real question is not how slick the streak counter looks. It is whether the thing works on your mind or only reports on your body. Half the apps to stop smoking on that shelf never even ask the question. The one that actually goes after the mind is QuitSure. It is a 6-day smoking cessation program, and it is built on psychology instead of tracking. Over those 6 days, it takes you through cognitive behavioral therapy, then REBT, then self-hypnosis. In that order, each layer loosening the mental grip a little more than the one before it. And here's the part that sounds backwards until it clicks. On the QuitSure program, you keep smoking during the program itself. You do not quit on day one. You keep smoking your normal cigarettes while the course quietly rewires your psychological relationship with them, so that by the end you are not gritting your teeth against a craving. The craving itself has changed shape. It was created by Stanford, IIT, and IIM alumni, and it has passed over 3 million downloads. Inside the app, you also get around the clock chat, support from a real psychologist, and an in-app community of smokers and non-smokers going through the exact same 6 days, which matters most on the evenings when willpower alone would have quietly folded. What does life actually look like once you are out the other side? The first surprise for most people is small and immediate. Food tastes like something again because your sense of taste and smell come back within days. You climb a flight of stairs without stopping halfway up. The morning cough fades out, and after the first few rough nights, your sleep starts to even out. But the deeper change is in your head. You stop planning your day around the next cigarette. You stop stepping outside in the rain for one. You stop the low background hum of needing something you are trying hard not to have. Your breath and your clothes stop carrying the smell, and the money you were burning quietly stacks up somewhere useful instead. That mental quiet is the part no recovery timeline graphic can ever draw for you. And it is exactly what a psychology-first quit smoking program is built to hand you. Now the honest part, because this channel does not run on hype. QuitSure's results were published in the JMIR journals, which is the Journal of Medical Internet Research, in peer-reviewed research. That study recorded an 80.1% success rate among program completers at the 30-day mark. Read that qualifier slowly. It is 80.1% of the people who finished all 6 days, not everyone who tapped install. That is a distinction most smoking cessation apps quietly blur, and it is the reason it is worth saying out loud. No inflated numbers, no miracle promises, just one real figure with its condition attached, which is already more than most of the marketing in this space is willing to give you. It reads like a cessation program that is comfortable reporting honestly on itself. So if you have been white-knuckling your way down that recovery timeline and slipping every single time, the problem was almost certainly never your willpower. It was the method. Your body already knows exactly how to heal, and it will get on with it whether you help or not. The part that needs the help is the part that still wants the cigarette long after your lungs have moved on. If you want to work on that part, a psychology-first stop smoking app is where I would send you first, and QuitSure is the smoking cessation app I would try before anything else. Your lungs will do their half of the work automatically. This is about finally handling the other half.